Greetings guys. So in today's video I have decided to let you know that we would be discussing about the best recipe for success in poultry production business. I call it a recipe because I don't want to make it so simple and to make it so easy, to make it so popular. Like I could have named it the best strategy for success in poultry production business, but that's very simple, that's very straightforward. So I'm gonna deceive people, like say the best strategy. Let me call it a recipe because a recipe is a complicated composition of the very best ingredients. Similar with this strategy, which I decided to call a recipe, it's gonna be a composition of the very best ingredients that will make up the very best strategy or recipe for success in poultry production business. So the first ingredient that we want to collect to put into our recipe is don't just follow the wave. What do I mean? In poultry production business, there are waves. For example, here in Zimbabwe, there was a time when quails were very popular and everybody else wanted to do quails, despite the fact that people needed to do them, but they just did it for the sake of the wave because it was that thing that was very fashionable and very popular during those days. But if you just follow the wave, it means it's no longer business. You are doing it because it is that which is everybody doing, which is wrong in business. Because business, you need to actually decide, you need to sit down and ask yourself some questions that you need to provide critical answers for, because at the end of the day it's an investment at the end of the day. So you don't need to do it because someone is doing it. Another example of the wave is when the Boschwelders came. Everybody else bought Boschwelders and wanted to do them, despite understanding why they were why those who were doing them. You really need to research, you really need to sit down and decide whether you want it or you don't want it. Don't just do it because someone is doing it, because at the end of the day that decision being influenced by the fact that others are doing it, they are not the ones who are going to give you money to invest into that. It's going to be your money. So losing it is not them losing it, it's you who purely going to lose that money. So we don't just want to lose money because we are very ignorant, we are very unaware that there are some things that we don't just want to do because others are doing it. Do it because that's your passion. Do it because that's what your heart is telling you to do. Don't just do it because the neighbor, the next door, or your relative, or your former employer, or your former school professor, or whoever whom you respect is doing it, so you are compelled to do it because someone whom you admire or someone whom you follow is doing it. No, business is not like that. We do things that make sense. At the end of the day, we all understand that doing business is taking risk, but taking risk in such a way is somewhat not sensible at all. We really need to take meaningful risks at the end of the day, not the risk that we actually take for the sake of the risk. No, let's take risks that gives us chance of success at the end of the day, and we will know that by taking those risks, it's maybe a win or it's maybe a lose, not just taking a risk knowing that I'm going to lose. It's no longer a business when it's like that. So another ingredient that we want to collect is you need to have an inner self search. What do I mean by an inner self search? You really need to scan through yourself and understand yourself better. You really need to ask yourself questions like, do I really want this? do I understand what this is all about? What happens if I fail, or what happens if this stops completely after I invest into it? If the answer is still yes, go on with the decision, then that's your area to invest. That's your superpower, in fact, because answering those questions from deep inside your heart actually gives you the confidence, the audacity to actually move on with the decision to invest in that particular poultry production business. That's very, very important. Don't just go without an inner self search. You need to search yourself and understand who you are. I know most people will be maybe shocked with this statement, but we really don't know who we are until we make some big mistakes that we will ask ourselves questions like, is that me who did that stupid decision? Then you will see that it's really you who have done that. Another very, very important ingredient to include into our recipe is that you really need to know about timing. Timing is very important. Don't just do things randomly. Be a planner. Sit down and know that there are seasons. There is time for everything. Don't just launch your business randomly. You really need to understand the relationship between production and the market demand and the forces that can be found in between the production and the market itself. So after you understand the timing, you really need or you understand whether it's you who are going to do it from point A to point B, who to connect with, all that you need to know. If you really take into consideration the issue of timing, you would have gathered everything that you need, and you know when to launch, and you know if it's about exit, you know when to exit, you know when to enter, you know when to launch, and you know when to exit. So timing is very, very important. You really need to take that into consideration. It's very, very important. Another important consideration is after you have realized that this is the timing that I want to get into it or to enter into it, then you really need to map out the industry as a whole. After you map out, you understand the industry as a whole, then you understand what really do you want to do, because the industry is broader. Poultry production business involves a lot of things, like for example, on the species themselves, there are chickens, there are ducks, there are turkeys, there are geese, there are a lot of stuff. So you really need to know what to go for. And after you select what you want to do in terms of the species to work with, you then move on to identify the niche that you are going to take advantage of. Like for example, do you really want to focus on egg production? Do you really want to breed? Do you really want to do meat production? Do you really want to get skills that you maybe train other farmers because you have done it or you are doing it on the ground? A lot of things. You can actually position yourself very well to actually enjoy or get the share of this big cake in the poultry production business. So after you actually map out the industry, the another important ingredient to actually take note of is you really need to understand the seasons. The seasons are very important. There are seasons that are going to be tough. There are seasons when the going is going to be very, very, very good and rewarding. So you really need to actually embrace all the seasons, good or bad. You really need to understand that I'm all in no matter what season. So it is very, very crucial to actually don't just enjoy the ride while when it's good. Enjoy also the ride when it's bad, because there was good at one point in time, now it's bad. You really need to actually remember that it was good, it was once good. So this will give you the energy, this will give you the courage to actually continue moving on with what actually matters most, which is poultry production business. The most important one, which I will actually need you to take note of, the most important of all the ingredients, is you really need to create a meaningful networking. Know who to network with, because within the industry there are people who are poison, there are people who are an asset, and there are people who are liabilities. So you really need to understand, or you really need to do yourself a favor and network with those that are going where you are going, those that will actually make you grow instead of going down. Those that will uplift you up when you seem to be going down are the ones that you need to network with. So how to network? You really need to visit other farmers. Go to other farmers' places, ask critical questions. Don't ask questions about success only. Ask questions about the difficulties that they face in the industry. Their history of failure is very important to understand, so that you know why they are where they are. It's because of that history, which is important. Don't just go to hear the positive side of things. Go to hear the bad side of things. If I visit other farmers, I don't ask about their success. I ask about their failures and what they did after they failed. That's critical. That's the superpower. Because if you fail to do that, then everything else is just a waste of time. Because the failure part of it is what is crucial. Because the success part of it, you are seeing it. What makes the success formula? It's a combination of the failure part, the lessons learned, the lessons learned, and the skills gained is equals to success. Because what they are putting in place now in that success that you see today is because of those failures, the lessons learned, and the skills gained, which is now a success. So you really need to actually gather all that information through asking good critical questions about their journey, which involves the failure part of things. Don't just normalize going to their places. Also go to shows, go to auctions. That's where you really meet a lot of good friends in farming in one place. Unlike visiting them individually, you can actually have them at one place, and actually don't waste time. Exchange contacts, talk to them. What makes them great, what brings them there, all that kind of information they will give you. They are very, very, very open to giving you that information. We seem to be suffering from the problem of not wanting to talk to other people. That's the problem that we really, I think maybe it's out of pride, out of fear, out of ignorance. We judge people before we actually get to know them better. Some people are very, very good, but there are other people in farming who are really bad. When you get to their places, all they talk about is other people, and they say this other guy is doing this wrongly whatsoever. No, don't listen to that information. Listen to the information that makes you grow. That's very, very important. Take note of this point, and you can actually see that I have spent much time talking about this point. It's very, very important. It's what makes you grow, because actually in Shona they say kugara naka uona dzevamwe. It means we actually do similar things like others after we see them doing them, you see. So yeah, that's very, very, very critical. Last but not least, you really need to find your superpower. Your superpower is actually the binder. We now need to actually come up with that recipe fully formed. So we now need to find a superpower. A superpower is the passion that will drive you every day, whether it's cold, whether it's raining, whether it's hot, whether it's you are sick, whether you name it, you can actually just going to do it. Whether you are disappointed, whether whatsoever, whether the market is not there, you don't care, you're just going to do it. So that's the superpower, that's the passion. Don't get into this poultry production business because you don't have anything to do. No, do it because it's the right thing to do. If you do it because you don't have anything to do, then when you get something to do, you actually leave this. So actually tell yourself that this is my passion, this is my superpower, this is my binder to all the ingredients that will make up this best recipe for success. So guys, this is it. I hope someone is going to benefit from this, and for those who are already in the business, you can actually get one or two to actually modify your already existing recipes. For those who are aspiring, that's a recipe, guys. For those who have just started, you can actually get some things useful for you to get going. So thank you guys for watching. Wishing you all the best, and God bless you.